Welcome, one and all, to episode 514 of Scotch and Smoke Rings. Is my microphone muted again? No, it's not. I got it right the first time this time. Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the episode. Gonna have a good one for you. Today we're gonna be playing some more Doom, and I believe we're probably at the tail end of our Doom 2016 experience here on the program. We faced some difficult bosses, and some people said they were the final bosses last week. Others said that there were more. So we'll have to dive on into Doom and see exactly what's up next. I think there are more bosses. I don't think we've reached the end just yet. That's my personal opinion. Good to see everybody in the chat today. Josh Button says good evening. Good evening, Josh Button. Hey, says Ben Bax. Hey there, Ben Bax. So, it's busy. Weird Beard is in the chat. Hey there, Weird Beard. Good to see all of my subscribers and members in the chat today. So, it's a weird week. Well, what I mean is that it's going to be a very eventful week and couple of weeks. So, this week, my content as, scheduled. Right? I've got a live stream tomorrow. We're going to be doing some Rage 2 tomorrow. Then I've got some more videos over the weekend. We're going to be doing a Fallout 2 video on Saturday and a Fallout 3 Broken Steel video on Sunday. What you smoking, Kimosabi, says the Dark Seraph. I haven't started smoking it yet. But when we get there, we'll be smoking an La Aurora y Leon Corojo. It's my go-to smoke of choice. But the reason that we're going to be busy is because Sunday is Bethesda's big reveal, so to speak, at E3. So every year, all of the big gaming companies go to E3 and they get really excited about, the next big thing they're going to be showing off, even so far as to just invent the trailer for a game that doesn't even exist, as we learned about Anthem and No Man's Sky, that they then show off at E3. But the bigger your company is, the more stage time you get. And Bethesda is a pretty big company, and they get their own stage at 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern time on Sunday evening. So the plan is to do what we did last year. And last year, I just found their own live stream, their Twitch live stream of the event, and I rebroadcast it on my channel with my face on top of it, so that I could provide commentary real time. And I think that sounds like a lot of fun. We'll do that again this year. So if you don't want to miss what Bethesda has to say at E3 this year, just stop on by my channel at 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern time on Sunday, and it'll be a real chill live stream where we'll have a real-time reaction to what's going on at E3. I'll probably start broadcasting a good 20 or so minutes before the event kicks off, just so that we can all get acclimated and say hi to everybody and light up our cigars and pour our beverages before Todd Howard takes the stage. I don't know what to expect. I mean, maybe they'll say something about, one of the games they're currently working on, like the new Elder Scrolls or Starfield? Is that what it's called? Starfire, something like that. The new sci-fi game that they're working on. I doubt very much we're going to hear anything about Fallout, if I'm perfectly honest. Probably not anything at all about Fallout that we'll hear at the big E3 announcement, but it'll be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. Then the week after that, I've got a ton of Fallout 2 and Broken Steel content to get through. Today, no video. Well, there was no video. There was a video. Yes, there was no video yesterday, but there was a video today because for the past several days I've been shooting my new Reno footage for Fallout 2. I'm already 6.5 hours into it. That's just pure unedited footage of Fallout 2 that I now have to turn into a narrated, scripted story, which is going to be tricky. I think I'm going to divide it up into several different episodes. Instead of doing one big new Reno episode like I did with Reading, I'm probably going to have to cut it up because my Reading episode was about 1 hour and 40 minutes. If I were to do that with New Reno, it would be a good 4-hour-long episode. And I'll try and divide it up into logical segments so that it's more digestible and we'll go through it over the span of several weeks. Just so that we can fully enjoy all of that content. But man, New Reno is a hoot. It's, I can see where New Vegas came from. Going through New Reno, I'm getting lots of New Vegas flashbacks. And I can see that even with New Vegas, they were more ambitious with what they wanted to convey in sort of like a seedy, town of sin than what they even realized in New Vegas. Anyway, we got a lot to look forward to. Daniel says, "Hey, Ox, I just became of legal drinking age. Would you recommend any kind of drinks and keep up the great work?" Well, I mean, it's up to, I mean, it's whatever your preference is. And if you've never had an alcoholic beverage before, as I'm sure you haven't, as you have just become a legal age, then it's hard for me to recommend something. Some people say that vodka is a good starting beverage because it doesn't taste like anything. I think that vodka is one of those sneaky alcoholic beverages where, you're right, it kind of doesn't taste like anything, and sooner or later you've drank too much without realizing it. That's what's happened to me every time I've tried vodka. So I don't particularly like vodka. I like the good, rich, flavorful alcohols that sort of just smack you in the face when you first try it. So a good, powerful Scotch is nice. Just sip it. You don't gotta. It'll burn your tonsils off the first couple times you try it. It's Kraken rum. If you've never tried rum before, if you want a good spiced rum, Kraken rum's a good rum. If you really want to sort of ease yourself into it, just like a rum and Coke is probably fine. You could go get a Long Island iced tea. Those are pretty powerful and pretty tasty. Kilo says, "Have you seen the Capital Wasteland mod for Fallout 4? I've heard about it, but I haven't seen very much about it. I think I heard about it a while ago, and at that time I looked up some footage of it, but I haven't heard any news about it since then, so I'm not exactly sure how far along they are in it, or if it's done, or anything like that." Don Quinton says, "Long Islands are wonderful." They are, but those also can sneak up on you, because it's basically like drinking lemonade. It's just delicious. And then suddenly you realize, oh, I've just had 3, and now I'm sloshed for the evening. So you got to be careful. Taz says, "Ox, do you think we'll see anything regarding 76 DLCs on Sunday?" I have no idea. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is I have no insider knowledge whatsoever, but I get the impression that, Bethesda has focused on the Fallout franchise for several years now. Fallout 4 came out in 2015. They had Fallout Shelter, then Fallout 76, all of the DLCs for Fallout 4. Bethesda has been like the Fallout. They've been just obsessed with Fallout for several years. And I don't have any concrete evidence for saying this. I can't point to something, but I kind of get the feeling that they're kind of Fallouted out. Especially after the reception they got from critics, at least, from Fallout 76. I don't think that they're not going to support Fallout 76. I don't think they're not dedicated to the DLCs of Fallout 76. I think they are, all of those things, and we're going to see some great content for Fallout 76. But I get the vibe that they've got some fatigue when it comes to the Fallout franchise, and they'll probably focus on other titles at E3. That's just a hunch that I have. I've got nothing to back it up. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. I hope I am proven wrong, because I'd love more Fallout content. But I get the impression we probably won't hear very much about Fallout at E3. But that's what Sunday's going to be about. We'll have to watch it live and see what happens. Ben Bro says there won't be anything about Starfield or the Elder Scrolls 6 confirmed by Todd himself. They'll be discussing Fallout 76 DLCs. Really? Wow. I should have read your comment before I spoke. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But if they don't talk about Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 at E3, Blades. They're going to talk about Blades. Okay, let's drink something alcoholic and set something on fire. It's that time. It'll be great to learn more about the Fallout 76 DLCs. If they really do cover the Fallout 76 DLCs, I'm excited about that. In particular, I want to get into those vaults. We should have been into those vaults with the game when it launched, but we weren't. So now that we're going to be getting some DLCs, I want in those vaults. I want to see those stories. I'm excited. Don Coynton says, really enjoying the Broken Steel videos. Thank you. I've been having a blast putting together the Broken Steel series. Had a great time putting together the intro. We're 2 episodes in. We've got several episodes to go. Broken Steel is a pretty expansive little DLC for Fallout 3, so we've got a bit to get through. Rusky says, can't go wrong with the classic whiskey and cola. Do you think Bethesda Game Studios has too narrow of a scope, just now starting their 3rd franchise in 20 years? The rumor I heard is that Starfield is the game they would have made had they not bought the Fallout franchise. I think at that time they were really looking for something outside of the fantasy realm. And it just so happened that Interplay was having troubles, Black Isle was shuttered down, and Fallout came up for grabs. And so they snagged it and decided that instead of putting their efforts into sci-fi, they were going to delve into post-apocalyptic. And it paid off. Fallout 3 was a huge hit for the game, for the studio. Completely revolutionized first-person RPGs. Then Fallout 4 was a huge hit. Skyrim was a huge hit, right? So they got these huge hits under their belt, and so they continued doing what they were really, really good at. And I think from everything that I've heard, many of the top brass at Bethesda are just really excited about the prospect of Starfield because it's the game they always wanted to make. It's these ideas that they've had flying around their heads for 20 years that they had never had a chance to put down into reality because they were preoccupied with making money as a studio, with pleasing fans who had expectations and, doing their business. Now they're at the point now where the studio has grown to such an extent that they feel like they have the freedom to work on something new. Do I think they've had too narrow of a scope? Yeah, and I think that they would say that they've had too narrow of a scope, but not that it's something that could have helped. It probably came out of necessity. They had to make the games they had to and that they wanted to, but in order to make their studio successful and work. So, I'm pretty excited for Starfield. I don't really know what to expect, but, they went from fantasy with Elder Scrolls right into post-apocalyptic, and many of us loved what they did with the Fallout franchise. So I have high hopes. Vero Punch says no Starfield or the Elder Scrolls 6, some 76 this Sunday. Okay, so looks like you guys are more informed about E3 than I. They will be talking about 76 this Sunday. I'm excited. Love the content, says Elsie Hosking. Thank you, Elsie. Good to have you on the program. Deuteronomus says, watch the IGN interview with Todd Howard. It's informative, though some marketing talk about 76. Yeah, I haven't seen any recent interviews. Not since, 76, everything last year after E3. I haven't really looked into the interviews. Ox, what's the song in the Broken Steel theme? Says Elder Buchanan of the Beothahood of Steel. Beothahood? It's a completely new invention. I hired a composer to create that song. At the very end, we kind of hearken to the main Fallout 3 theme, but the entire first 30 seconds of the 34-second song is a completely new creation. Danny Dots with a tip. Thank you, Danny Dots. Logicism says, you ever thought about making a podcast? Yeah, the thought has bumped around in the old noggin. I used to have my old World of Warcraft videos available on iTunes podcasts. And then I took them down for some reason, or maybe they expired. Anyway, I tried about a year ago to get my new Fallout videos onto iTunes, and there was some sort of hiccup, and then I just lost steam. I need to hire somebody to just do all of the admin stuff so I could get my stuff on iTunes. But, it's hard to do that and make the content at the same time. So, all right, hold on. I got to pour myself a glass. That was the right decision. Vero Punch says, most likely this Sunday will be Doom Eternal info. Yeah, I've been following Doom on Twitter, and they're teasing a lot of stuff for E3. So we're going to be getting some Doom Eternal. Also, Wolfenstein the Youngblood. I'm sure we'll get more about that, and I'm excited about that. That game looks pretty great. Prower says, what happens if you put Nutella on salmon? You get salmonella? That was bad. Yeah. No, that was bad. Thank you, though. Gundam Warrior says, hey, Ox, I thank you for making the great videos and helping get through the hard times and making the last days great before I have to go off to boot camp. Well, I'm happy to help. Good luck heading off to boot camp. I hope things fare well for you. And thanks for spending some time with us today. Where JC says Starfield better have some lore and solid NPCs. Just saying, enjoy your work, and you have a good taste in hats, young person. Okay, thank you, Where JC. I'm confident that they will. You know, I think the scope of Starfield is more in line with the single-person open-world RPGs that they've done in the past. And so I think those are more of the stories we're going to be getting. More stories like the single-player open-world RPGs they've done in the past. Cult of Malgus says, is the future of Fallout after 76 bright or bleak? I mean, who knows? It's a beloved franchise, and it will remain a beloved franchise. And there will be people craving more from this beloved franchise. But let's take a look at the Elder Scrolls franchise. They did a huge hit with Skyrim. And the Elder Scrolls is still a beloved franchise, but they made Elder Scrolls fans wait for how many years? They still haven't released a sequel. The next game in the Elder Scrolls series. They haven't released it yet, with the exception of Elder Scrolls Online. Does that count? I don't know. I've never played it. But people have been waiting for the next Elder Scrolls game for almost a decade now. I don't even know how long it's been. You know, Elder Scrolls fans would say that they have hope for a next big Elder Scrolls game, and it's coming. They're working on it. They're talking a little bit about it. They talked a little bit about it last year. They're not going to be talking much about it this year, but we know they're working on it. We don't know what they're working on when it comes to Fallout. We don't know how long we'll have to wait. But if I was a betting man, I would say that we're going to be waiting for a while. Sup Kids with a tip. Thank you, Sup Kids. Prower says, why do you never see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're so good at it. I mean, that's logic. That's logic right there. You can't refute the soundness of that logic. Prove to me that an elephant is not in that tree. You can't see it because it's sneaky. 80CJ says, Ox, you should have a giveaway on your overstock Fallout items. Maybe you should sign them. Overstock Fallout items? I don't have... What do you mean? Like my shirts? My shirts are print on demand. I don't have any overstock stuff. So when somebody buys a shirt from my shop, they create it then. Like, it's not like I have a big stack of shirts. But, I mean, I could do more giveaways, more contests and stuff. It's something I'm thinking about. Keen McGill with the tip. Thank you very much, Keen McGill. Charles Borden says, nothing wrong with 3 fingers of booze to start the evening, Knox. Thank you. My evening started a while ago. I've been working on my next Fallout 2 video for most of the day. Got most of my footage shot, and then I did about half of the audio recording. We went to the Cat's Paw. We're in the first episode, we're going to go to the Cat's Paw in New Reno. And yeah, wow. I had to say some things in my audio recording that I never thought I'd have to say. Sentences that I didn't know could be made with the English language. So the next Fallout 2 episode is going to be an interesting one. Thanks, Interplay. Sup Kids, again with a tip. Thank you very much, Sup Kids. Jonathan Champion says, "Hello, Ox. Been a fan of your videos for about 4 years, and I love your content. Cheers from the Army Infantry." Well, cheers to you, good sir. Thank you for your service, and I'm glad you're watching the program today. Don Quentin says, "Oh, that's got to be interesting, lol. I'm looking forward to it." Marson says, "I'm not shadow banned, am I?" No, Marson, you are not. Fly Ranger says, "I appreciate Bethesda usually waiting to unveil new games till they release that year. Gets rid of delays in release." I know how you feel, and I think that they probably feel the same way. But we kind of, I remember listening to an interview from Todd Howard about the Elder Scrolls 6, and he said in that interview that they don't like talking about their games at E3 until they have something to show. And they didn't have anything to show about Starfield or the Elder Scrolls, but because of rumor, because all of these gaming journalists hear, gossip from around the water cooler, and they get emails from previous employees, and they start putting out all of these speculative journalistic articles that then gets the rumor mill running, and then people start pestering Bethesda. "Ooh, we heard you're doing blah, blah, blah." And now Bethesda's got to answer, right? Well, so what do? Do we show them what we're working on, even though we're really not far along, or do we just let them sit there and, let their imaginations run wild and not give them any definitive answer and, risk spoiling our community? So it puts them in a really difficult situation, right? These journalists put out all this content for the clickbait, to try and get something riled up, and then it ends up hurting the company trying to make the game, trying to sit there and put time into making sure that their announcement of the game goes by as smoothly as possible. So it's really difficult, which is why last year their information on the Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield was just like, for Elder Scrolls 6, what did we get? We got like a mountain and a landscape and text, Elder Scrolls 6. And then for Starfield, what did we get? We got a Starfield. It was just stars and space and text. That's it. That's all we got. Because that's all they had, right? They didn't have anything to show us. That's all they had to show us. But they wanted to say something because, okay, it had kind of been spoiled. We already knew about it. So they wanted to say something. Weird Beard says, "I really hope the next Fallout has darker themed storylines similar to New Vegas. As much as I love Fallout 4, it always seemed like they sugarcoated absolutely everything." I hear what you're saying. They, well, so the major differences, I think, is Bethesda wants to stay away from controversy when at all possible. And the original Fallouts and Fallout New Vegas, they weren't afraid to court controversy. This is seen in Fallout New Vegas, where they deal with really just horrible topics like rape and how being raped can affect you psychologically. Like the entire drama of Betty in the first recon, second recon. What is it? I'm getting them all mixed up. I'm doing a new shirt for Fallout 3, and it's got me mixed up with it was Boone's Company. What was Boone's Company? First Recon, wasn't it? First Recon? Anyway, her entire story and how, she had been raped, and it caused her to become inappropriate towards other people. And that's a really difficult situation to write about, because usually, even if you tackle an issue like rape, the victim is the one who gets a lot of sympathy. And we end up having a great deal of sympathy with this victim, even though she's inappropriate herself many times because of how she's suffering. And so Obsidian did an excellent job of tackling that really difficult issue. And that's kind of the type of issue that I don't think Bethesda would really want to tackle in the way that Obsidian tackled it. And you certainly don't find prostitution dens in Fallout 4 quite the same way as you do in Fallout 2. Even Fallout 3 is a little seedier at times. Like in Fallout 3, you go into Megaton and you've got Nova there, and it's straight up, open prostitution. In Fallout 4, the closest they really got is, Magnolia hinting at a past life on the streets in one of her songs. And I see what you're saying. I don't need that, though, for it to be a Fallout game. Like, I don't have to have a game that tackles those kinds of topics for me to enjoy it. I recognize it when the game doesn't tackle those kinds of topics, and it stands out to me. But I still really enjoyed Fallout 4, and it was still a wildly successful game, even though it didn't tackle those kinds of topics. So ultimately, is it a good decision for Bethesda to steer clear of controversial topics, really, really tricky topics? You know, maybe from a business perspective, it is. I don't know. From an art perspective, is it? Again, I don't know. Welcome, Brandon Anderson, new member. Good to have you on the program. Prower says, no joke this time, but a little bit of a fact. Today was World War II D-Day back in 1944. Yes, it's been all over Reddit. Lots of really interesting information, lots of photographs of veterans who had been returning to Normandy for the anniversary, and it was quite a time. Quite a time, and I'm glad that everybody is remembering it. They're not shying away from that. Lardy D says, hey Oxhorn, Lucian here. You inspired me to create my own gaming channel. Thanks for everything you do. After years of watching you, I decided to jump in. Well, Lucian, I'm glad you did. I hope you jumped in feet first and that you acclimate to the waters. Well, I wish you nothing but success. Taz says, Ox, I listened, not watched, your video on General Atomics Galleria, and I have to say that even without looking at a single frame, I had a complete picture of the area you explored that day. Well, good. I mean, I do try to be explanatory in the visuals during my videos. You know, a lot of people will message me saying that they're either blind or they'll listen to me while on the road at work and they can't view the screen, and they really appreciate it when I kind of describe what I'm seeing. So I try to do that as often as I can. Mythic says, hey Ox, been a sweet, sweet week from finally finishing up high school and graduating next week. Hope all is well over there at HQ. Things are going well. I'm staying busy over here at HQ, and congratulations on graduating. My kids are graduating from their schools as well. My daughter's graduated from preschool today. So we had a big preschool ceremony earlier in the day, which was a lot of fun. And my son will be graduating from first grade later this week. So it's that time of year. Rusky says, Todd said they announced Fallout 6, that they announced Fallout 6 months before release because that was the shortest notice he could give. What would you think of the same month announcement? I think the sooner the better. I don't think it's good for a delayed release because it puts the studio under too much pressure and it raises expectations from the viewer base. I mean, just think about Half-Life 3, right? Half-Life 3 is a myth now. It has achieved mythic proportions. There will never be a Half-Life 3 because no matter what game Valve ever produces, if they stick the words Half-Life 3 on it, it will disappoint. The expectations for Half-Life 3 have grown so large and speculation has become so fanciful that there's nothing they could ever make that would ever live up to it, right? And that's because people have had over a decade to fixate on Half-Life 3, and it'll never come out now. So I think the shorter that we have to really fret and worry and wait for a game, the better. You know, having these games with ridiculously long production times, I don't think is good. And this is kind of what's happening with Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, I hate to bring it up because I love everything I've seen about the game, but they've been talking about it since 2013. They released the first trailer to Cyberpunk 2077 at E3 2013. That's 3 years after Fallout New Vegas, right? It was 2013. It's a long time ago. And they're still working on it, and they're not done with it. And they originally said that they were probably going to be getting out sometime this year, but rumor has it, and I know this is rumor. I hate to spread rumor. I don't know if it's true or not, but rumor has it that it's going to be pushed to 2020, right? That they're getting into sort of a nightmarish production cycle. What their lead writer, and this isn't rumor, their lead writer left. That's a bad sign, you know? I mean, that's a bad sign. So, and I really hope Cyberpunk 2077 is a great game because it looks really interesting, but it's been people have been focusing on it too quickly. And, it's kind of like a double-edged sword because you've got this game, you've been working on it, and then you have to make a call. All right, we've been working on it for 2 or 3 years now. We've been working on it for 4 or 5 years now. At what point do we just cut the cord and say, okay, it's done? And Bethesda does this. They got Fallout 3 out, and it had bugs, but they got it out. And they got Fallout 4 out, and it had bugs, but they got it out, right? So what do? Do you get out a game, and it has a bunch of bugs, but at least you get it out, and mods can fix it later? Or do you just sit on a game until it's absolutely perfect, and because you do that, it never gets out, all the while your studio burns through money? Which is the best way? It's kind of tricky, right? Bethesda gets a lot of crap because they release games with bugs, but they get games out the door. I don't know. So I would love it if we didn't hear about a game at all until it was 6 months to release, right? Because then we've got 6 months to enjoy the photographs and enjoy the screenshots and the fan art and see all of the teasers on Twitter and view the videos and get all amped up, and then 6 months later, hey, we get our game, we can all play it and celebrate. That's what I'd like. But just being dragged along for 2, 3, 5, 6 years, it just gets exhausting, and I dislike that. So, yeah, to answer your question, short. I like it short between the announcement and the release of the game. Okay. Tickle My Pickle says no. Says, hey, Oxhorn, can you please at some point during or after the Fallout 2 playthrough do Killup's restoration patch? Also, can we, the fans, call you Fallout Jesus? Love you, bud. You can call me whatever you want. I'm not going to respond to Fallout Jesus, but you can call me whatever you want. I'm probably not going to be doing a series on Killup's restoration patch. It's an interesting patch because the cool thing about it is it does restore a lot of the unfinished content that they had. For example, they originally had us finding Sulik's sister. That was, they had some of the audio recorded for the dialogue, they had some of it done, but they ran out of time, so they cut that from the game. But they left in that little bit of dialogue in Klamath where Sulik is talking about finding his kidnapped sister, but yet we get to the den and we don't find her, right? So we're kind of like, what? Where's Sulik? So the restoration patch fixes some of that stuff, but I probably won't be covering patches like that because ultimately it is a mod and it is restoring content that wasn't published with the live game. And so even though we do get some greater insight into what the developers were thinking when they were coming up with a particular quest, we don't really know if it's canonical. And that's one of the problems with Sulik's sister, for example. We can't say if it's canonical that we ever find her or where she went, where the slavers took her, or if maybe Sulik was talking about something else, because he did have a sort of cryptic response. When we asked him who took his sister, he described these heavily armored guys wielding flame torches. And what does that conjure up in your mind? It conjures up the Enclave. Well, if the Enclave took his sister, of course we'll never find her because of what the Enclave does to people they kidnap, which is going to make sense as to why that was cut from the game. And that particular piece was left in. But if a restoration patch suddenly puts his sister in a slaver camp and we have to go rescue her, we now have to go back and try and interpret what Sulik was saying about the guys wearing the big armor and the flame sticks, right? Suddenly that doesn't fit. So that's why I kind of try to steer clear of restoration patches. Even though it is cut content, it was originally intended to be that way, it's not canonical. So... Cult of Myga says, maybe Bethesda hires more devs for multi-releases? Maybe. I'm not exactly sure what their operations are. I did hear a rumor last year that after the success of Fallout 4, their studio exploded. Like, they hired a bunch of people. They went on this big hiring spree. And I hope I hope that works out. I hope they've got a team dedicated to Fallout 76, that they'll be producing amazing, awesome content for that game for years to come, and that they've got enough breathing room to work on other great games like Starfield. Brandon Anderson says, hey, Oxhorn, I've enjoyed watching your channel grow over the last few years and to become what it is now. And you bring so much joy to so many. You're the best, my man. Hope all is well, and the fam is great, too. The fam is fantastic. Thank you very much. That's extremely kind. I'm really just blessed to be where I'm at. I never thought that my channel, that a channel about lore would become as popular as it is, which is why I didn't start it as lore. I mean, lore is what I was really interested in. That's why I fell in love with the Fallout series. But when I sat down to produce content for Fallout 4, I'm like, yeah, lore will never play. No one really wants to put that much time and energy into it. I mean, it's all about 10-minute videos and clickbait thumbnails, and, you know, that's what I got to make. And so for my first few videos, it was all about mods and settlements and settler costumes and stuff like that. But then I started, you know, making lore videos anyway because I wanted to. And then that's what took off. And I'm like, oh, okay, people will watch this. Cool. So I got to just make 45-minute episodes about just the most obscure parts of Fallout lore. And people liked it. And I was like, all right, I didn't expect it, but okay, I'll take it. Marson says, on the other hand, Oxhorn, look at Doom. They delayed it to be as much polished as it could be, and it worked great compared to the state of Fallout 4 upon release. It's a poor comparison. I understand where you're coming from because Doom is very polished. It's a very polished game. But it's a poor comparison because it's not an open world. And it's an extremely linear game. When you're sitting there making an open world RPG where your character can choose between one of 4 factions, and there are, you know, hundreds of thousands of ways that dialogue can be played, and you got to cross-reference every single dialogue path with other things that you can do and decisions you've made previously, it becomes infinitely more complicated. Compare that to a game like Doom, where you're telling a story, you write one script, you record vocals once, and you just piece it together. You can sit there and really, you know, make sure each little piece is polished, so you don't have to sit there and worry about things getting broken in the same way things can get broken in a big open world game. So I hear what you're saying, but the challenges don't equate, right? Matthew Smag says, do you have a backup hat just in case? Actually, I do. This is my real hat, and then I have a backup hat. It's a size too big for me, which is why I don't wear it, but I keep it in a safe place, just in case. Mythic says, I think studios like Bethesda should only release a game that is at least mostly refined, as they aren't a small indie company. Too many companies are beginning to rely on games as a live service. I agree. I think that it's completely unacceptable to publish an unfinished game. Especially if you're a AAA studio. Now, I understand if you're like an indie developer and you're crowdfunding a game and you've got ambitions for the game, but there's no way you'll ever make it on your own, and so you crowdfund it and you release it out in chapters and you upgrade it over time. Okay, fine. But if you're a AAA studio and you've got the resources and you've got expectations, and especially if you're charging $60, no, it should be a done game when you get it. And I do have problems with games that are released with a $60 price tag or whatever, and you get the game and content is locked out to you. And that's the frustrating thing for Fallout 76 for me personally, is I bought a $60 game. I didn't get a free game. I bought the game, and I log into the world, and the very first vault I get to is locked out. I can't get into it. I get it. They didn't make that content yet, and there was an entire other world to explore. That's fine. But then to be told that, free DLC later, okay, it's free, great, but I was bummed at that moment in the game. I paid for this game. It should be finished. And then I get to the vault, and it's locked, and I can't get inside because that story isn't available yet, and I felt deflated at that. A little bit of anticipation and joy that I had at that moment was suddenly snuffed out. And that's something you don't want to happen in your viewers and in your gamers when you're making a game. You want to feed that. If people have a little flame of joy, you want to feed that fire and give them more. If there's anything in the game that has the potential to really just kind of deflate that, you want to reduce those instances, as many of those instances as possible. So, I mean, there were a few missteps when it came to Fallout 76, but I'm really grateful that the DLCs are coming and that they're going to be free when you bought the game, and that hopefully we'll be learning more about them at E3. Rusky says, speaking of mod patches, did you ever cover Glory not having a synth component, and what's your opinion, developer oversight or subtle storytelling? I did cover that, and I believe I covered that in my video, which video was it? I did so many videos on synths. Was it our synths people? There was one of these videos that I did about synths where I covered that topic. And it could have been subtle storytelling, but I think it was a developer oversight, if I'm perfectly honest, because... Well, the only thing that I thought of at the time is there is her name inside the Poseidon energy plant, right? So the one that's infested with raiders, and I did a video on this too, because there are some questions when it comes to Glory. You talk with Glory about her past, and she talks about about how she was a bit ashamed of some of the things in her past, okay? And then you find this raider camp inside Poseidon Energy, and you find a raider throne, and scrawled on the wall is the name Glory. Why? And I put a lot of theories together at the time in that video. Maybe she wasn't a synth, and I used that as evidence that we don't find a synth component on her corpse as a possibility. But also, she's a unique synth in that she didn't have her mind wiped. Well, why didn't she have her mind wiped? Was it because she wasn't really a synth? But then you've got everybody else in the Institute who talks about saving her. So for that lie to work, for her to not be a synth, everyone would have to be on board, because she was rescued from the Institute by the people who are there. Desdemona, Deacon, and everybody else, they remember when she was rescued from the Institute. Was she an Institute scientist who posed as a synth? We get all of these things that we can't answer. So I think it's probably an oversight, but then again, it was never fixed, so I don't know. Rusky says, I say speaking of mod patches because the unofficial patch adds the synth component back in. Yeah. I mean, it could be something to do with the code. Maybe she was marked as synth in the game files. I don't know if this is true or not, by the way, but it could be possible that, each character in the game, I do know that in the creation kit files, each character is assigned a race. So you've got human, mutant, synth. It could be that she was marked as a synth in the game files, but her synth component was missing. That could have been the basis upon which the unofficial Fallout 4 modders decided to give her a synth component in the patch. I don't know for sure. That's speculation, but yeah. I've been playing the game with the unofficial patch installed. Man, all these questions fly by. I'll get on these little tangents and then everything flies by and I don't have a chance to answer it. What is it, 48 minutes? How have I been talking for 48 minutes about Fallout? Scotch. And my cigar. I've hardly made any progress with my cigar. Nicholas B says, I really loved Hancock as a companion. I did as well. He was one of my favorite companions. And I really enjoyed putting together the companion video that I did about Hancock. I learned a lot about his history producing that video. Where'd you get the helmets, says Cloud1. Binary Ghost answered this question just a moment ago. Almost all of the props you see on my backdrop back there came from Etsy. I had them. They're either official Fallout props that I purchased from the Bethesda store, or I found someone on Etsy who just is a creative person and does this for fun, and made one for me. Mafia Gaming says, where'd you get the 45 helmet? Please, I'm dying to know. Yeah, the T45 helmet was difficult. I had a hard time. I had been looking for one for a while. For those who had been watching the program for a while, I had 3 helmets up there. The T51 that we got from Bethesda with Fallout 76. Then I hired a guy on Etsy to make the EXA one and the 60. And then for months, those were the only three I had until I finally found a mask maker on Etsy who made the T45. So if you go to Etsy and type in T45 Fallout mask, it'll come up. It should come up. If they have any more in stock. I bought it from a guy in Russia. Took a while to get here, but it's amazing. Mythic says, I've always wondered this, seeing as your style has changed over time, what video of yours are you most proud of and which do you wish you could redo? I'm pretty proud of my latest stuff. I believe that, you're right, I have changed over time, and I think for the better, as I pay attention to the comments and read what people are expecting and what they would love me to do and how I can change my tone and presentation. It changes and evolves over time. I think I found a pretty good voice that I'm enjoying right now. I really enjoy a lot of the later content that I've done. My Tranquility Lane episode, I had a lot of fun doing that. I put a lot of energy into it, and I did a lot of video editing tricks to that to kind of, really nail that Tranquility Lane feel. So I'm pretty proud of that. I'm also pretty proud of the survivalist video that I did. But even then, even now, I'm going back and watching it. I'll listen to myself talk, and I'll think, man, I could have changed that, or I could have changed that. A lot of it is really subtle that I don't know that I've changed until I listen to an older video, and I go, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I had forgot to do that at the time. So Pizza Man says, hey, Oxhorn, you should collab with Mr. Matty Plays. Yeah, he's a good guy. I'm always open to doing collabs. Brandon says, I'm a bartender in Nashville, and one of my regulars bought me a Cuban cigar from his homeland last week. I'm enjoying it right now with my favorite YouTube creator. Have you ever had a Cuban cigar, Oxhorn? Well, thank you, Brandon. I have had Cuban cigars. So I'm really close to the Canadian border up here in Washington State, and I think 3 or 4 times I've been over to Vancouver, just across the border, and there are a couple of cigar shops. Honestly, it's such a touristy spot that I've been a little disappointed with many of the Cuban cigars that I've had by going over to Vancouver. I did go to Amsterdam once in the Netherlands, and I found a cigar shop there. There's no embargo over there, so I got to enjoy some good Cubans, and they were really fine. Cubans aren't the best cigars anymore. It used to be that Cubans were the best, but, with the embargo having been active for well over 50 years now, many of the other growers have developed cigars using Cuban seed tobacco that are just as good. If you go to Cigar Aficionado and take a look at the top 10 each month, anything rated over a 90, you very rarely these days find a Cuban cigar. And it's not because they don't rank them, they do, but it's because cigars from Nicaragua or the Dominican Republic have become so refined that some of those rank better. Cult of Myga says, consider a Let's Play as a railroad heavy with a railgun. That'd be a lot of fun. I've done a lot of lore videos with my railroad character. But she's a stealthy sniper. Rachel says, Ox, I may have missed it, but what do you think of Vault 51 and Zax and Fallout 76? I don't know enough about it. I don't think any of us know enough about it. It's exciting, the prospect of it. I covered it in a live stream a couple weeks ago. So for those who don't know, they added something, and this is one thing Bethesda does with Fallout 76 that drives me up the wall. They'll add a new piece of lore to the game, and it won't be in the patch notes. So in the patch where they updated the... I don't know if it was... I think it was the possum stuff they did. But in that particular update, they also added a drop box that had been launched from Vault 51, and it landed near Morgantown. And you find the box, and it's filled with supplies from the overseer of Vault 51, and you find a note saying that he walked off someplace. He somehow managed to survive by hiding in the box, and so you end up tracking him down by the Alpine River cabins, and you find his corpse and another note on him, and we discover that he was trying to flee the vault because the Zax computer took over. Of course, we all remember the Zax computer from Fallout 1 inside the glow. And there's the Zach's Computer Fallout 3 President Eden. So, really interesting. Yeah, I want to know more. You know, it's really cool. If you take a look at the Enclave questline on Fallout 76, there's a moment when you're reading the terminal entries inside the Enclave bunker where Modus has a conversation with President Eden before President Eden becomes President Eden. It's like a precursor to President Eden. He's just now becoming self-aware, and he's starting to ask why questions. It's so creepy, but it's great, and you get that inside the White Spring bunker. All right, 5 minutes and we'll dive right into Doom. The Unborn Wolf says, do you play video games in your spare time? If so, how much? Very little. I'll play games in search of new content. And sometimes I'll live stream this. So, for example, we're playing Dishonored, and we will eventually be playing Dishonored 2 because many months ago I sat down and I did a live stream of just playing a couple of different games. Doom was one of them, and I was trying to figure out what my next live streaming game should be. And we settled upon, I believe it was Prey at the time, and we finished Prey. There aren't a whole lot of games I play recreationally for fun. Most recently, I bought a game for my son called Astroneer, and it was too difficult for him at the time. So I've been playing it, and I've been really enjoying it. It's one of those games where you find a procedurally generated planet, and you have to, dig for resources so that you can build booster rockets for your ship and, moon bases and stuff like that. It's simple, but it's fun, and it's great on an ultra-wide monitor, which is one of the reasons I've been playing it, because there are a few games I can really enjoy on this monitor that I have. But I've maybe played 3 or 4 hours of that game, not a whole lot. Most of my time playing games is either for research or I put it right back into this channel. Cult of Malaga says, who was your favorite companion and why? Mine was Deacon. Deacon was a great little companion. I did a video on him that I'm really pleased with how the video turned out, and I came to appreciate him more as a companion. But he frustrated me earlier in my gameplay because he lied so much. And, it's not cute. Like, he thought it was cute. He's like, yeah, my name is Deacon. I'm a liar. That's my shtick. Isn't that funny? No, that's not cute. You think you're being cute, but it's not. So he annoyed me when I first met him. I really enjoyed Hancock was great. And I didn't like Dance and Preston when I first met them. Preston was too Boy Scout, and Dance was too Boy Scout in a different way. If that makes sense. They were both like two hardcore dyed-in-the-wool believers of what they believed in. So I gravitated towards more, morally neutral characters. I really enjoyed Hancock. I really enjoyed Kate. I really enjoyed Curie. She's not morally neutral, but she's just such a sweetie. So I enjoyed Curie. I didn't like Piper that much at first. It's when I sat down to do lore videos on all these characters that I really began to appreciate them as characters. I didn't like Piper until I did a video about her. And then after I uncovered a lot more of her dialogue and I learned more about her past and her history, I suddenly I began to appreciate her. And the same for Paladin Dance. There was so much I missed about Paladin Dance in my first gameplay of Fallout 4 that I didn't really get until I played through some of my other characters, like my Brotherhood character, and then I did my Blind Betrayal video where I talked about that particular quest, and I began to really sympathize with Paladin Dance as a character. And then Preston Garvey, of course, he annoyed everybody, but I did a video kind of being really positive about the guy because, yeah, he's annoying, but he's like one of the best human beings you meet in the game, right? Like, he and Curie are just, when it comes to just some of the best people you meet, it's Preston and Curie. So, yeah, I really like Preston, and I run with Preston a lot with my Minuteman character for role-playing. Yeah, so, all right, we got 1 more minute. Josh Bunton says, time to go eat some good spaghetti. I hope you enjoy your dinner. Rusky says, have you ever thought of doing Telltale-styled games on stream? If so, I couldn't recommend Life is Strange enough. I'm not familiar with that particular style of game, but I have heard great things about Life is Strange. I don't know much about the story, though. It's one of those things I'll have to look into. There's a lot of video game education that I need. There are a lot of great games that I've never played, and that needs to change so that I can cover them on my channel. There's a lot I got to do. Jonathan says, what about Nick Valentine? Oh, man, Nick Valentine's my boy. I mean, how can you not love Nick Valentine? Just everything about that character is just great. His story is great. His style is great. His voice acting is great. I mean, he's Nick. You gotta love Nick. Chris Breyer says, people give Preston way too much crap. He's not a leader, simple, so he looks to the main character to be a leader. Yeah, I agree. He's not a leader, but not everybody has to be a leader, and it's okay if you just don't have any leadership skills. He's not a leader. He's a soldier who knows what he believes in. The problem is that he's lost his commanding officer, but he hasn't lost what he believes in. So he's still, even though he's not a leader, he's still trying to fit the shoes of a leader while burdened by what happened at Quincy. And while burdened with what happened to the people who came to him as the last Minuteman, trying to find a leader, but not finding that in him because he doesn't have any leadership within him. But he's still trying to take that mantle. I mean, that's bravery. That's brave. You know you're not a leader. You know you're bad at it. You could admit that flaw within yourself, and yet you still try to be a good one anyway because people need you. I mean, Preston's just the man. Like, he's just a great, great guy. And then he finds you, and he puts all of his hope in you. And you can either crush him or fulfill his every wish and become the general. So I just can't crush Preston. He's too great. Enclave Soldier says, will you do Fallout Taxis at all, Fallout Jesus? Again, you can call me that. Well, fine, whatever. Yes, I will be doing Fallout Tactics. I'm doing Fallout 2 right now, and it's taking up an enormous amount of my time. After I finish Fallout 2, I'm probably going to be doing Fallout 4 content. There's still a bit of Fallout 4 content that I have yet to do. And when I'm done with that, maybe I'll tackle Fallout Tactics. But yeah, I will be touching on Fallout Tactics. Maybe Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, if I can get it to work on a PC. I'm not going to play it on the console. I just can't. I just can't do consoles. We'll see. All right, it's 8:02. Let's kill some demons. Okay, I'm starting to get cluttered here. Too many things going on at once. All right, let's bring this microphone over here. And I got my cigar right there. And there's my water. Uh-oh, what happened to Doom? Did it crash? Nope, there it is. Bingo. Rookie says it's one cutscene and you're done, bro? No, you're kidding me. Oh, what are we going to do for the rest of the program? If it's one cutscene, what am I going to play for the rest of the program? All right, let's get back to it. Cornflake says, thanks for streaming. I'm in the hospital with my wife. You have my condolences. I hope everything's going to be okay. Maybe it's really happy, child. Hopefully it's nothing bad. But yeah, I'm glad to be here along with you. I am Vega. Reclaim the Crucible.
You have the Crucible, and with it the means to contain the power of the well. plan to send you there. Vega will walk you through the process.
Okay. Close the well. Well, this isn't a cutscene. So far, so good. And I'm finding armor. They don't give you that unless you're going to need it. Ooh, look at that. Vega personnel. Oh. Okay. Vega 3, decoded entry. Vega is powered by a mix of refined Argent plasma taken directly from the Argent fracture and UAC technology. While details regarding the development of Vega are a closely guarded secret, it is rumored that Vega's core is powered by a piece of arcane technology found near the Argent fracture. The behavior and calculating power of Vega is unprecedented in AI theory, and the system is to some extent self-taught. After the initial core software was updated, Vega began gathering data from all of the UAC subsystems without oversight and effectively took control of the Mars facility operations. Vega also proposed a more effective method for processing Argent plasma into Argent energy, devised better analysis theorems, and even designed new Argent compression schema, allowing for the development of Argent caches, and later, the Argent accumulator. Don't know what it means, but it sounds good. Shadow says, can you imagine being in labor and your husband turns to you and says, honey, Oxhorn gave us a shout out. As long as he doesn't say, shh, Oxhorn's talking. That would just be bad.
This is my primary operating facility. It is where I was created and where my core processing unit is maintained. It takes approximately 2.4 terawatts of power to sustain my operational capabilities, but it has been decided that we can use that power to send you to the source of the portal. I will not survive the procedure and am unable to self-terminate, so I will walk you through the process. All interior and exterior facility doors have been secured. You will need to begin by finding a way in and disabling the security systems.
Okay, usually they give us a box for a reason. No, not this time. Okay, so there's where I go. Hold on. What do we got over here? Oh! Raider token. Oxhorn, you gonna do the full story of Far Harbor? Absolutely. That is high up on my list. I've got 2 tokens. I could, and not enough. Not enough. Okay. Wow, and I was up and everything. Secrets. Hello. There's a little room down here. Ooh. Hello. It's just down. Okay, so up there? No, because it's down from there. Well, it's just... Ah! Aha! Yes! T45 says, once I was in chemistry class and I was watching when my partner told me to stop since we were still testing. Whoa! Well, listen to your partner. It's good to play fair. Yeah, calm down. Am I missing anything? I'm not. So I've got a big drop, and that's it for this level. I got the Praetor token. Okay, so I could go up. Ah, this is the way I would have gone. Oh, look at that. Never. Ox, do you have an opinion on Bioshock and its lore? I have only played the first Bioshock. I have not played the others, so I can't really properly judge the series. I enjoyed the first Bioshock, but I'm told that the lore gets better. I kind of walked away without really feeling enough to drag me in. But I'm open to giving it more time.
My security systems operate on 2 separate global networks that terminate in this maintenance facility. Each termination point is protected by an electrified field, but you should survive the surge.
Okay. As long as he thinks that I'll survive. So those are power-ups. Well, let's activate it first.
Primary neural security network offline.
sorry, had to concentrate there. It was like dance. I just got in the zone and I felt like a ballerina for a short period of time. It's not often a man can feel like a ballerina with a shotgun. All right. Ooh, more Iogen plasma. Looks like I'm full. So I should probably use the weapon, huh? Okay. There is more armor down here. And then I guess I need to go through the door. Ah, look at that. Oh, but I'll waste it if I get it now.
Auxiliary neural security network offline.
Okay, before I push the button, where's my stuff?
My vital operating systems are now vulnerable. I recommend destroying my coolant system first. This will accelerate the destabilization process.
Right, why is he helping me? Who needs any other weapon? It's shotgun or nothing, baby. Sorry. This is how we do it, fun. Well, now they're all gone. And I got the power up and I wasted it.
Should you find yourself on a level 3 demon catastrophe, a tier 3 fellow will come, and neither should you.
Blue security clearance required. Blue security clearance required. Blue security clearance required. Blue security clearance required. Blue security clearance required.
If a shotgun isn't enough, you're using it wrong.
Blue security clearance required.
Wait a minute.
Blue security clearance required.
Okay,
Unlike everything else in your life, your work here matters.
unlike everything else in your life, your work here matters. Those pinkies, they can get you.
Should you find yourself caught in a level 3 demon contamination event, it is important that you remain calm. A tier 3 fellow will come, and neither should you.
I've seen this guy before, haven't I? There's a hold behind me. Hello, what have we here? Oh.
Contamination event. It is important that you remain calm. A tier 3 fellow wouldn't panic, and neither should you. Everything else in your life, your work here matters.
Invisa Pinky! Okay, that took all my ammo. Okay, well, there's the blue key card. Okay. So that's what was down there.
Access granted. Access granted.
Did I get a secret? I did. I got a secret. Oh, and there's something down there. Hello. What is this? It's like hell is frozen over. What did I find? Okay, so there's something down here. Ooh, it's a little man. There's a man down there. Yeah.
Early tests of Vega's protoplasmic circuitry showed temperatures exceeding 1.2 megakelvins, 173 times hotter than the surface of the sun. To contain this heat, a massive supercooled structure was built to house Vega's miles of circuitry and millions of processing centers.
Which way do I go? Looks like it's a dead end over here. Let's see what's beyond the wall. Oh, it's an elevator. No? Or does it just take a long time?
You are looking at the only absolute zero cooling system ever constructed. It took years to perfect. Destroy each of the 4 coolant generators. Once they are no longer functional, My primary systems should begin to melt down.
Core temperature rising.
Why don't I just stay in this room? Oh, and it just sends me back. One at a time, why not? Just pick them off.
Core temperature rising.
Ah, I'm stuck down here, no! Oh dear. Oh dear me. Oh dear. Okay. Should have used my should have used something bigger than that. Okay. Okay, I think I got a good idea.
Core temperature rising. Core temperature rising. Core temperature controlled.
Where is it?
Thank you. You can now move to where my core is located to complete this process.
Okay. I'm just looting absolutely as much as I can before I move on. I don't know what's in store for me. Think I got it all?
The train below will take you to the entrance.
Let's go.
For you to gain access to my core, the demonic threat must be removed from the room ahead.
Okay, remove the demonic. Oh dear. Golly. I missed all of those. Get away! J.A. Bristol says, our Modus and the rest of the Enclave and Appalachia AIs are where they once human and their brains preserved somewhere in White Springs Bunker. I think they're all AIs.
For you to gain access to my core, the demonic threat must be removed from the room ahead.
Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear. Oh my.
For you to gain access to my core, the demonic thread must be removed from the room ahead.
Doggone pinky, man. That was exhausting. Holy cow. Well, I don't even know how much Argent Plasma I have left. I still have 3. Okay.
I am losing memory capabilities. Control of the minimal.
Get ready for one of the best, if not the best,
Once
kills of
Vega's
Doom.
core is destroyed,
Says Mark.
the vacuum of energy will pull you back through to hell. We have your destination set to the well's location. Now use the crucible to power it down, and the portal here on Mars will be closed permanently. They will not allow access to the well without a fight. But I'm sure that's what you're looking for, isn't it?
You know me so well. A note for all advocates regarding Vega. At times you may feel as though your every move is being watched, as if there's no privacy, and that even your deepest thoughts are being analyzed and processed by Vega. You're not paranoid. This is indeed happening, but it's nothing to fear. Vega's intelligence is vast and his powers immense, but he is not omnipotent. Like all of us, his existence is monodimensional. He needs argent energy to survive. His circuits and coolant reserves are mechanical and can break down. At the end of his age, he will be another trophy for the Dark Masters, destined for display on the Great Step. It is essential that you recognize Vega for what he is, another tool to help open the gates and nothing more. Like us, he can be manipulated and controlled. The vast intellect and understanding of the Titans of Hell far exceed anything Vega is capable of understanding. Ultimately, his intelligence, like ours, is artificial. One down. Let's do the other one. Okay, do I put my hand in the hole or what? It's the Eye of Sauron.
Process is complete.
Thank you, Vega.
Oh, that's it? Oh, man. Do I do this now, or do I save it for another broadcast? take the blue portal. Just get it all. Ah, they're surrounded. Oh my goodness, I'm surrounded. Oh my gosh. Okay, do I have any weapon points to spend or something? This is just, 23, okay. Acquired. That's it. Mythic says, I guess you could say demons are putting on one hell of a fight. Well, I got through the... I didn't even need to use the Argent Plasma, but doggone it. Okay. I'm glad I saved this for later. Okay, so there's a deeper drop down there, but if I can get to that platform... Okay, and I only used one Argent plasma, and I got it back because there was one on the map. We're okay. Everything's fine. Just killing demons, having a good time. Oh, what does this mean? Okay. Trying to tell me something? Oh, dear. Oh, no! The Wraiths. While there have been no confirmed sightings of these creatures, much is known about them as they are revered by the demons and referenced multiple times in all explored areas of hell. According to scriptures found in the Kadingir Sanctum, the Wraiths are elemental beings that inhabit the realm of Argent Denur, a world that was colonized in the first stage of Ascension. The Wraiths were deified by the people of Argent Denur and protected by their fiercest warriors, the Night Sentinels. They are believed to have been imbued with a powerful energy. Binary Ghost says, it gets real fast, Ox. So great. Fine then. Guess I'm going that way. Into the gaping skull mouth.
Must not be allowed to free them.
a waste. Oh, I did it! Oh my gosh. Pointing me the way, are ya? I think I already read that. where are they coming from? took all of my Argent plasma, every last bit of it, but I got it. I timed to get the quad damage until that very last wave when I knew all those big demons were spawning. And then I just pulled out my Argent plasma gun and let a few rip. I'm completely out. Oh no. What was that? Okay, stop. What was that? Oh, I see. We've got a number of entries for this. The elemental wraiths, if they do still exist in Argent and Noor, have no doubt been corrupted by the power of hell. However, descriptions of the beasts suggest they were terrifying in their own form before any demonization occurred. The protection of these beasts was both a measure to harness the power they generated and also a defense against them. Hence, the need for a warrior order to serve as protectors rather than a simple priest caste. Several tablets describe the worship of the wraiths as a necessity to avoid their wrath, and the Ungmar Codex specifically state that Wrathcall, the son of an approaching wraith, caused panic and terror among the people of Argent and Noor. It's also possible that some sacrificial ceremonies were attached to the worship of the wraiths. Further reading from the Ungar Codex, the Knight Sentinels stood strong against our legions. Conquest of Argent and Noor, empowered by the wraith energy, was foiled at every turn. Yet in our darkest hour came a lowly hell priest, Dag Grav, and in his guidance a weakness in a heathen of the Knight Sentinels was found. The bargain was struck thus. For the return of the betrayer's only son, lost on the battlefield, Dag Grav must be taken to the source of their power, the elemental wraiths. Led there by the wretched betrayer, Dag Grav and his cabal set a curse upon the wraiths as they slept, and used their essence for our own devices. With the power of the wraiths, they formed the well, that which brings us upon our enemies. Thus the city of Argent and their false gods fell under the unholy might of the hell priests. For his payment, the betrayer's son was returned to him in our form, and the icon of sin was brought upon the heathens. His vengeance was swift and merciless, for the wages of treachery are suffering. With the fall of Argent and Noor, their realm was taken into ours. Their temples and ruins, their carved rock and edifice, all was absorbed into our realm and taken as trophies of our triumph. What?
They promised me so much.
Okay. Are you disappointed? It's an evil woman spider with eggs. Spike! What the heck? What do I even do? What do I even do? JMod says, only shoot the brain and go for the platforms when they appear. Except for that doggone spikes. cigar. Oh, boy.
You've won. It's over. You stopped the invasion and closed the portal. But it's come at a price. Argent, Vega, this entire operation. You see, I've watched you work. Come to understand your motivation. You think the only way is to kill them all, leave nothing behind. And you may be right. But we can't just shut it all down. Without Argent energy, it will be worse. I don't expect you to agree. But with this, we can continue our work. I am not the villain in this story. I do what I do because there is no choice.
Rerouting tether coordinates complete.
Our time is up. I can't kill you, but I won't have you standing in our way. Until we see each other again.
Doom guy. Yeah, look at this. Finally, we get to see some third-person shots here. Oh, lovely. I love it. So what are we going to do next week? I finished Doom. I don't got a backup plan. I'll have to find a new game. Whoa, what's this? Oh, does this game have multiplayer? I suppose that's a side of it that I didn't even explore. Oh, yeah. Oh, it must smell awful. I mean, just look at all that blood. Ooh, there's the armament right there. So did she, like, get possessed and then transformed into a giant hell beast? BioShock? I could do BioShock 2. I have been meaning to do that. Ooh. Right in half. I hate those big guys. Man, I hate those guys. He can't just take the yellow key card out of its hand. He's got to rip off the entire hand. We Happy Few. I could try We Happy Few. That's a nice side-by-side shot there. I love it. Ooh, look at that. That's great. Great way to end it right there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for Scotch and Smoke Rings, episode 514. I had a heck of a blast with Doom. Here I am saying heck of a blast after going to hell and back. But I had a heck of a blast with Doom. It was great for this particular program. I think it fit nicely with Scotch and Smoke Rings. So I'd love to find more games like this. Really sort of casual. You can jump right in. I love Dishonored, but the thing with Dishonored is there's so much story along with it that you kind of, it takes a good 4 hours to get enough gameplay in to really justify a stream. With this, you can go from level to level, and it's an hour here, an hour there. Really good for this format of the show. Anyway, I'm going to head on out. I got to finish doing some audio recording for my Fallout 2 video that I hope to get done in time for Saturday, not to mention the audio that I got to get done for my next Broken Steel video. So I'm going to bid you all a farewell. No, I'm going to bid you all farewell and a good night. Hope you guys get some sleep. Thanks to everybody who tuned in today. I really appreciate all of those who come to each and every episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings. We've been doing this program for, 10 years now? Almost 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. 10 years this last June. So, yeah, it's been 10 years now. So good to have each and every one of you who have showed up to every episode. I'm going to get some work done, and then I'll see you all tomorrow morning, bright and early, for Rage 2. We're on like day 8 or 9 of Rage 2. We're well on our way through the game, have been having a blast. So join me tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time for day 8 or 9 of Rage 2. And until then, you all have a wonderful night, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning with a brand new live stream. Have a good one.